It's time to pop the top off with Pub Talk today. We are back. It is Memorial Day. We hope you guys are having.
Can you see? Oh, sorry. I just had to get into it.
You good over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
It's Memorial Day. We hope you're having a safe Memorial Day out there.
Yep.
We know
Be
the
smart.
world is
Be
crazy
smart.
right now. But we're back. We're going to talk about the winners of the draft. We know we've been gone for a little bit. We're going to talk the NBA and NHL playoffs here because the NBA finals are set.
Yep.
We have Tom Brady's huge ass deal with Fox and a little bit more. We're going to have some beer tasting and hops of the week to end us off. But before we get to all that, we want to thank our sponsor at Route 11 Chips. Route 11 Chips, the best chips here in the Shenandoah Valley with great flavors such as Chesapeake crab and salt and pepper. So make sure you check out your local food stores and grab your chip bag today. Okay, let's get right into it. Coach, welcome back.
Yes.
Okay, so
It's nice and cool here in the studio, isn't it?
dude, it's so freaking hot
It is
outside,
hot
man.
as balls.
We're a little bit more on the hefty side of the world.
I like to call it svelte.
So when we go outside to either just mow the lawn, do some yard work, or just fucking stand out there, we're gonna sweat our ass off regardless. So it's now gonna be June here, coming up here in 2 days, which is, how do I describe this? I like it for the sense that like you have a little bit more time off essentially because it's the easier time of the year, but at the same time, it's hot as shit. No, that's the one offsetting thing that it may be a little bit more freeing, but man, is it hot as shit out there. So anyway, welcome back. I do want to say, let's go ahead and start off because the last time that we were here, this didn't happen, but Tom Brady has signed a massive contract with Fox Sports as their lead NFL analyst coming after he retires, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
After he retires.
Yeah. They want him. I mean, how could you not want him? He's such a presence.
I'm so happy, though. You go ahead. I have a little to say on it, but
my thing is, why not? This tells you that this is it for him, right? It's got to be it. They're not going to hang.
He's weird, man.
They're not going to dangle that multi-$100 million contract in front of him for him to continue to play. You know what I mean? I just don't see that. I don't see that at all.
Okay. I can understand that. That like maybe they're like, you got 2 years max.
Okay.
I'll say they got 2 years max to say you will retire after 2 years max or the contract is off the table. But I am so happy to see a guy like Tom Brady say, I don't want to step away from the game, because I truly did believe that he was going to just fall off the earth because his wife could do whatever they
their kids are getting to a point where they can do that. They can do
whatever the hell they want.
Right.
But I'm so happy to see it because he has done so much for the game of football. Yeah. We saw Michael Jordan. You saw Michael Jordan in basketball. And what did he do after the game? Nothing. He fell off.
What do you mean?
I'm saying like he was gone. Like he
was pushing his brand. I'll say that. He was building his business.
Exactly.
The Jumpman brand, it's second to none today.
But
you know what I mean?
Staying close to the NBA.
being with the game. He was
a
part of the ownership of Charlotte Hornets.
Okay.
So he was not front and center with anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? He just wasn't that way.
And I saw that with Tom. I did, because I was like, he's done so much. He's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. He's won more trophies than anybody. He's done everything he possibly could. And I could just see him say, you probably won't see me again. And now with this contract, I'm like, I want to continue my craft and show you how truly amazing the game of football is.
Well, yeah. It's all about dollar signs. Look, was it last month? Was it beginning of this month, May? Yeah. We're getting close to June. We're at the beginning of this month. The NFL completed all of its contract with all of the big companies. $110 billion.
Yeah,
110 billion.
The NFL, I don't care what you think about, like
That's like 1/6 of the freaking federal budget for defense.
football is king in America. It
Yeah.
always will be.
I'm just like, holy
It just
Toledo.
is.
He gets 10 years, 375 million. 10 years.
People just think that he's not going to be Tony Romo. I'm like, Tom Brady is funny as shit. Tom Brady has a great personality to be on TV.
Oh, well, let's just say he's got a long way to go to catch Romo. Romo is about as good as it gets when it comes to analysis and being able to talk to the average listener. That's going to be the big question is, can Tom Brady talk to the average listener like Romo relates to them? He didn't have to be a spectacular quarterback. Tony Romo was a good NFL quarterback. He was a very good NFL quarterback. But he was an above
average quarterback.
He's an even better broadcaster. He's just that good. His understanding of the game and how it's being played to help the listener get into the mind of what's going on is uncanny. And nobody else does it like that.
But I think that Tom is easily that guy who's like, look, you see this coverage right here. It's easily broken down because of how good this quarterback is.
Well, I hope so. Well, that's Romo. Like I said, he's got a lot to go before he gets to Romo's level.
Well, he's already reached his money. He's already said, your money is mine, bitch.
Yeah, he passed Tony Romo by
because CBS wasn't going to be able to sign him because of how much they pay Romo.
Right.
And so I absolutely could see them saying to Troy Aikman, look, Joe Buck and you guys are iconic, but at the same time, now we have to see you guys out the door because there are quarterbacks that you see. I think that's why people like Romo and Nance, because Romo is from this generation of quarterback. He is from this type of offense in the past 20 plus years. Aikman was a quarterback when I was fucking born. Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Troy Aikman was a good quarterback. I
get that. I'm saying the generation
in terms of how he relates to people and things like I think he definitely reaches I'll just say this. He reaches a higher office of listener in men over a certain age. You know what I mean? He reaches them. Tony Romo reaches everybody kind of thing. And,
exactly.
He just pulls in women, the demographics for women. He just pulls it in because he's talking to them about what he sees. And then they're like, oh my God, did you just see what he did? Jesus, Tony could still play, he could, because he's that good. And that's the greatness about him behind the microphone is being able to explain to the person who's watching that game what's happening, what could happen, and why it happened. And like I said, as much as I love Twomey, he's gonna have to prove a lot to me before he gets to the level. It's not to say that he can't to get to Romo's level of relating to the audience. He's just unparalleled. He's no Phil Simms, but sorry, I tried to do that with a straight face.
Like I said, you're seeing a lot more color commentators who are very knowledgeable about the game of football in this time period. Phil Simms was not one of them. He was very it's the reason he got replaced by Tony Romo.
Yeah.
And then now you're seeing Tony Romo and everyone's watching CBS, and then you have Fox, and now Troy Aikman and Joe Buck are on Monday Night Football. They're now the people over there.
Yeah.
And so you're just getting all these people who are now this generation of quarterbacks or just players that have played in the game today. Aqib Talib, I don't give a shit if you can't understand him. The man knows what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
He literally is able to say, yep, that was zone coverage, 100%. And the way that he played, I don't care if you can't understand him. Because if your knowledge is better than your fucking just overall broadcasting experience, I mean, some companies like that. And Fox clearly does, because that's why they have Aqib Talib there. That's why
he's good. I like him. He's good. I do like that.
You have guys like Charles Davis, who is also fantastic as well with Kevin Burkhardt.
Yeah,
Like you have guys
I like
who are,
Kevin Burkhardt.
you have guys who are really good out there at their job who are former players of the game in this era that are really freaking good. And Tom Brady, I mean, yeah, we'll have to see, but Tom Brady has a personality who's really good. He's able to relate to a lot of players nowadays because guess what? He may be 40 plus, but he still plays with the fuckers. He still plays with those guys
Yeah.
and understands how, like, oh, you cried because you went to a Pro Bowl? Dude, we're going to a fucking Super Bowl, man. Why are you crying? Stuff like that. But
Right.
$300+ million for 10 years. I hope that he kills it, but he still has to kill it on the field this year because I can tell you this much: the Buccaneers are hungry. I guarantee you, they are hungry after that loss.
But you know what?
Against the Rams.
It still comes down to freaking. It still comes down to health. It will always be a health game, and so it as much as you think that there's a favorite today, it will always come down to a matter of health and who is healthy at the end. It always does. You know that. The 17-game season is a long time. It's a grind. So it will come down to that. But,
well, to adding to health, though, we could talk about the draft now because now you have all the new players who have been signed to their contracts on the NFL draft. The NFL draft has concluded for a month now, and we're going to talk about the teams who have won the draft so far, or who did win the freaking draft. We said 5, correct? For the
top 5.
Top 5. It doesn't have to be in any order, correct?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying one of those teams is the Detroit freaking Lions, who actually, got players that Dan Campbell wanted.
These are his guys.
These are his guys.
Right. These are true dyed-in-the-wool Dan Campbell guys. I would like to see them make an impact.
I think it really showed to Jared Goff that you're my guy.
Yeah.
You have to be my guy now.
Yes, 100%. You're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. This has to feel good for Jared Goff.
And I think that
it really does.
It gave him a little bit of hope in Dan Campbell as well. Like, look, you're trusting me.
Yeah, this guy's back and got my back.
Exactly. So there's that for the Detroit Lions. Who's
I've said hands down the Jets.
You really think that the Jets won something for once?
Yes, I think they did. I think when you look at their draft, they got a lockdown corner. Ahmed Gardner from Cincinnati. They got a top flight receiver from Ohio State, Garrett Wilson. You have a really good coach in Robert Saleh. You've got a quarterback who is going to get better as long as you can keep him upright. I think that they dialed in. Oh, you also got I put down Jermaine Johnson from Florida State. Now you got an edge presence on defense. How could you not like, if you were a Jets fan, how could you not like coming out of the draft what you had? I just see that as a huge plus for them.
Okay.
So I'm anything's better than what you've seen in the past. But when
I
you
don't
look,
know. The Jets are the Jets to me still.
I think,
yeah.
But yeah. I'm just going to give Robert Saleh, the head coach, a little bit more. I'm going to give him a little more leeway, if you will, just simply because, look, he's been there in big games. He's played and he's coached in the Super Bowl. He knows what it takes to get things done. So we'll see. We'll see if Zach Wilson can get things done this season. But last year was a trial by fire. For anybody to sit back and say that the Jets were going to be good last year, you bumped your damn head. That was not going to happen. I don't know. I just think the Jets had a good draft. They had to.
Okay,
it was bound to happen.
I don't know. The Jets have just been a laughing stock, man. Another team that I think won the draft was actually the Philadelphia Eagles. I think I
think you have to consider them.
I think that trade in the first round to get A.J. Brown from Tennessee was like, what the fuck? You literally traded your best receiver just in hopes of getting a higher draft pick. I'm like, dude, that tells me for Tannehill, it's like we have to rely on Derrick Henry at this point because, like, if we're willing to trade away,
or they
our
would draft
number one,
some sort of youth movement. I don't know. I don't.
but AJ Brown easily top 5 receiver when
Yeah.
he's healthy.
Yeah.
He just is.
So, but that goes back to the statement I made before we got started: is that in order to make it a deep run in the playoffs, you have to be healthy. You just have to be.
I think that the offense in Philly fits that guy more, though, man,
Maybe.
because Jalen Hurts is a gunslinger. He wants to throw that ball up there to his big receivers. And he has guys like his receiving core is now Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert at tight end, A.J. Brown on the outside. And then, so there's your two wide receiver tight end set right there. You got Miles Sanders in the backfield as well. And then you still have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. I think that trade for Philly really won them made them a very good team.
Right. Yeah. My other pick is Denver. You got rid of 2 top picks, but you got Russell. You got Russell Wilson. All right, so there's a key component. You already had good players. Now you add a pivotal guy in there, and then you draft some youth around him. And if you look at what they did with their draft, they chose edge, tight end, corner, D-line, safety, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, corner. They covered the field. So something must be good going on well with Denver. They have to be happy with what they got.
Well, I think that Denver is a team that with Vic Fangio and Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock was right here in the fucking middle.
Right.
They were literally smack dab in the middle, and they were like, I just can't move.
Yeah.
I literally just can't move because number one was the quarterback position. Of course, that was a huge issue.
Yeah.
But then also not having a lot of depth on your defense just could not get you over the hump. It just could not. And I think that whenever their new head coach now, who was the Packers offensive coordinator, is like, look, this team has a lot of special talent. Even though Jerry Jeudy's getting arrested, we have a lot of special talent. But we have to be able to tell our defense, look, we have to get you some more depth because now Von Miller, I mean, he's with fucking Buffalo now. He went to Los Angeles, and then now he's with Buffalo. And that was their franchise player. That was their best player in the past, I mean, since Peyton, essentially. But Von Miller was kind of better than Peyton in a lot of ways. Because, I mean, he defensive MVP, won him a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And clearly changed the Rams. I mean, look at what they did to fucking Burrow. Yeah. I mean, they made him look amateur. They truly did. But I think that they said, look, we have to turn our defense into a machine. We just have to. If we want to make Russell the key part, we have to be able to make our defense a machine when we already have good players on our offense.
And everybody knows that too. Everybody knows that. You're not
I don't
winning.
Think everybody does.
You're not winning a championship without solid D. You're not.
I don't think so. Ask the Broncos how that went.
Well, your defense is their sole existence is to get the ball back to the offense to give them one more opportunity.
That's why I love defense. They're just there. It's like they don't play for style points. They play for pride, man. They just play. It's like, look, we know that we're not going to get points on the board. We know that we're not going to score big touchdowns. We know that we're not going to get 50-yard plus bombs. We know that we're not going to get huge runs. But God damn it, if I can't make that quarterback my bitch, then so be it. Like if I cannot make that offensive guard just hate his life every single snap. Like that's what I love about defense. I'd rather take a 4th down goal line stop than a fucking Hail Mary because those guys, they play for heart. They just do. Because they don't get the big contracts.
What do you think about the Baltimore Ravens in their draft?
Well, their punter retired, so no. Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah. They got the big safety Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, that was damn it.
Yeah.
I was so sad when he got drafted to them.
So they picked up Ajabo from Michigan, but he has the torn Achilles. He's not going to be playing.
And they need a guy like him.
Yeah, I think so. And then they picked up Travis Jones, and they compared to Travis Jones to Haloti Ngata, big run stopper.
Haloti Ngata. What
Yeah.
a name, man.
Who else? They got 6 picks in the 4th round. They drafted 2 underrated cornerback. Alabama. They got guys from Alabama and Houston cornerback Demarion Williams. I, there were a lot of people that say that the Ravens had a great draft. You gotta think that. Well, you've got pieces on offense.
Yeah, but the Hollywood Brown trade. I mean, you traded him to what was it? It was Arizona, correct?
I think it is to Arizona.
And that, I mean, sure, he wasn't as stylish as he was in college, but at the end of the day, the man could burn you easily. He was a deep threat.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think Lamar is coming along so much better as a deep ball passer. He's getting better at it. But you take a bullet out of your gun, and that's
you really do. I mean,
you're like, but what's the reasoning why? See, that's the thing I've never understood is what front offices are thinking. Maybe it came down to money. Maybe it came down to length and ties in his contract, something in his contract where they're like, we just got to let him loose now because it's going to cost us way more in the future if we don't.
Because they drafted Rashad Bateman last year from Minnesota, and that pick didn't really work out so well this year. Like the Hollywood Brown trade, I'm like, there's got to be something going on where they're trying to really make this about Lamar in the run game, because that has been their thing these past couple of years, has been the triple option, running it with Lamar, trying to basically pound it down your throat.
Zone read.
Yeah, zone read. I don't know. The Ravens might have a good draft. Might have had a good draft, but
yeah. Who else were you thinking? I was thinking about my team, and if I were to grade the Bears on an A to a D,
okay.
I would say a B, a solid B. We gave a lot of stuff away to get Justin Fields, and we gave stuff away in the past to get Khalil Mack. We get rid of that top-heavy contract from Khalil Mack. We get a few things in the trade. I would say it was a solid B. You can't be unhappy with that. You can't be unhappy as a Steelers fan.
No, unless you're an irrational Steelers fan who doesn't, look, the whole Kenny Pickett thing. I'm like, dude, he has been in the building at the University of Pittsburgh. He's played there in that stadium. Yeah. Those guys know him in and out. But all I hear from Steeler fans is like, well, he hasn't done anything really. And I'm like, so fucking what, man? Like, you can't expect. College is completely different than the NFL. There have been plenty of college quarterbacks who are explosive as shit on the college field, but once they translate to the NFL, guess what? They don't do anything. I'll give you a perfect example. Tua was a Heisman finalist, was the best quarterback in the country for a time being at Alabama, and guess what? Guess what he's been in the NFL? He's been nothing. He's been a very struggling quarterback with Miami. Another one that I'll give more recently, I would say, even last year, like Zach Wilson. Like he was a good quarterback in college his last year.
Yeah.
Very explosive. What led BYU to a good season? Guess what? Hasn't done shit.
Yeah, but you can't just say it's this guy. When you're talking about the quarterback position, you're talking about a guy who requires 5 guys in front of him.
I'm talking about the difference from the game of college football.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the person. I'm saying college from NFL.
That's been
completely different.
That has always been my huge gripe when you start talking about all these guys like Mel Kiper and what have you. When they start talking about NFL prospects, you can't even begin to scratch the surface of the speed and impact of the NFL game.
Yeah.
You just can't. And for these guys to come out and say these things, I'm just, you don't know anything.
A perfect example of that is Jadeveon Clowney on a college football field. That man was bigger than everybody else. He was faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
But man, when he went to the NFL, guess what, bud? There's people that are just like you on that same fucking position.
Well,
and across from you, everywhere.
You
They're everywhere.
Yeah, you know who else is a good. They didn't think that Josh Allen was going to be the quarterback that he was because he played.
Absolutely not.
Because he played for Wyoming.
Wyoming, yeah.
He played on with Sheriff Walt Longmire in Absaroka County out there in Wyoming. Yeah, and look at what he's done. Because physically, he is the prototype to be successful in the NFL in terms of body size, mentality, arm strength. He has all of those things. I think that's a lot of reason why, Baker has struggled. He doesn't have great arm strength. He doesn't have the size. He gets beat up. He's another one. I don't know what's going to happen with him.
But anyway, like what I was saying about Kenny Pickett is like, I don't give a shit what he did on a college football field.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And you guys need to fucking grow up and realize Ben is gone.
Right.
He is gone.
Yeah.
There will be quarterbacks who have come and gone for
Ben's
so
going
many
to show
franchises.
up and he's going to have Primanti Brothers crumbs in his beard, and he's probably going to wear his big Herman Munster freaking taped on boots and show up to the game.
You know how lucky of a fan you are to have a quarterback who was your fucking quarterback for 18 plus years?
Yeah.
You know how lucky you would have given your left nut for that, coach.
Yeah.
Because you had so many fucking quarterbacks that came through your door, and guess what?
Yep.
They didn't pan out.
Right.
And the only one who could give you one was fucking Jim McMahon.
Yeah.
Of all quarterbacks, but guess what?
Jim McMahon wasn't necessarily a physical talent as much as he was a motivational and a team talent.
But what I'm saying is that there are so many franchises that have been just like, I want a quarterback.
Yeah.
I want a quarterback who can represent our fucking colors and represent our organization. And the Steelers had that for 18 plus years.
Yeah, yeah.
When you went to Pittsburgh, it was Big Ben that you always thought of. You just always thought of Big Ben. But guess what? He's gone now. He can't play forever.
Yeah, Trubisky's going to get his shot, isn't he?
I hope so.
I think so. I've already told you. I think he's going to do well. I think Trubisky's better than Pickett just simply because of the time in the league, and the fact that he spent time in Buffalo with another quarterback who was pretty much his age, being groomed by a really, really good coach. So I think that was to Trubisky's benefit. It comes out now that we know he wasn't getting the type of coaching with Matt Nagy's staff that he was getting with that year in Buffalo. So we'll see. We're going to find out. Josh Allen
speaks like, dude, this guy is unreal.
Yes.
He works harder than any fucking buddy. The only reason he's not playing is because
I'm better.
Fucking Josh Allen.
I'm better. I'm just better.
Like
I can live with that. And I bet you Mitch Trubisky could live with that. But I think he's going to try and find out if he can lead a team. We're going to find out. 100%.
I just hate that about fans in general, especially Steeler fans. Like they just won't let shit go. They will just, say he hasn't done anything. I'm like, I don't give a shit, man. I don't care. You don't see anything until the pads come on and until he steps foot on the field. That's what it should always be. Oh, he struggles in practice. So fucking what? Guess what? It's practice. If you can. They know each other so well in practice that guess what? Once you get on the field, it's completely different. But yeah, I just think that Steeler fans need to just grow the fuck up. Like that's what the NFL is, man.
But you're talking about people who feel this shit in their bones and they're going to say things that they probably, they don't know any more than the average fan does anyway. So I don't care how excited you are, it's just not any different,
And your Bears, like you drafted Justin Fields, and you felt that like this guy can be our guy. And
but they didn't draft a receiver until late in the third round, and it's just like, golly, You trade away Robinson and you get what? You get an unproven guy from Tennessee in the third round. Okay, whoop-de-doo. If you want this kid to succeed, you want Justin Fields to succeed, you have to put talent around him. You just do. You have to have somebody he has to throw to. You think about who he threw to when he was in college, and both those fuckers are in the NFL.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So just real quick though, the NFL schedule release has been done.
Yeah.
We'll talk more in depth on that next time actually. So, but I just wanted to go over the NFL. The NFL is set in stone. I'm going to go see the Steelers play the Eagles in Philly this year because they play them on my brother's birthday.
Are you going to Philly?
Yeah, it's October 30th. It's a 1:00 game. I'm not going to wear anything, though, to that. I'll just be a basic, because I don't want to get stabbed in Philly. I don't want to get beaten up because if I cheer once for a touchdown to the Steelers, I'm going to get beer thrown on me. I already know it. And guess what? It's the same shit in Pittsburgh. Don't give me this shit about that would never happen in Pittsburgh. Get the fuck out of here, okay? It happens everywhere. Every single fan base is terrible when it comes to not liking.
Are you going to get tickets?
Team.
You're going to try and get tickets?
Yeah, why not? We won't be able to get club, but it'll just be, actually outside with the heathens.
You'll be up with the drunk Irish welders.
We'll be able to taste the snowballs being made to fucking throw at Santa Claus in October.
Well, you won't have to worry about getting hit with batteries because there won't be anybody sitting behind you.
No, but the NFL schedule has been released, so I'm like, yeah, the Steelers play the Eagles for a non-conference game, so why not go out and see them? And thankfully it's in Philly because even though I like Pittsburgh, it's on the west side of Pennsylvania and not the east side, so it's not straight up 95. So it's kind of hard to go to it if you're not, in either Ohio or West Virginia. It's kind of hard to go to it. So anyway, but I'll say this: I hope it's going to be a very different year, especially for the Steelers. So it'll be cool to see. But that's all I wanted to say because we'll go into depth on that next time. But actually, it's crazy that I'm about to talk about this, but the NBA Finals is now set. A different change of pace.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's no LeBron James in the finals. We have a team that has now finally gotten back to what it has been 4 years ago, but the Golden State Warriors have now
punched their ticket.
They have punched their ticket, and then you have a team that has taken a little bit of time.
Was it 12 years? I think they said 10 or 12.
So they were around.
They haven't been in the finals in over a decade.
Yes,
I did hear that
since
statement.
2008, but they have gone deep into the playoffs. The Boston Celtics, back when the Heat had the big three of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, the Celtics were their enemy. They were the guys who wanted to compete.
Well, there was,
but they couldn't do it. In the Eastern Conference Finals, they met twice. They would meet multiple times in back-to-back years. But now
it was kind of weird. They made a statement. I was watching SportsCenter, and they made a statement about under Eric Spoelstra, the head coach of the Heat, they were 7-0 in Game 7s in playing in Miami.
Yeah, because that atmosphere was ridiculous back then. It's unlike any other. Whenever the Miami Heat, back when they had Dwayne Wade and everybody, they were just that fucking good when it came down to crunch time. But anyway,
question.
Yeah.
Nobody's beaten for Golden State, are they?
Oh, I'm thinking that this series would be Boston's because they've taken down the teams that are like they've beaten the defending champs. They beat the fucking Milwaukee Bucks. They took down the Heat after an 0-2 start. They were down 0-2 and now they've come back and beat them in 7 games. And then now they have to go face a team that's they're
not 100% healthy. Do you get healthy in what's today? Today's Monday. The NBA Finals start Thursday.
It's hard.
Can a couple of days of rest and just get off your feet, let these guys get their therapy sessions, get their deep tissue massages, get their bodies moving, shoot arounds, just get comfortable.
Hard. It is going to be hard because you have a healthy big three like Golden State has finally had for the first time in I think 3 years now that Klay Thompson and Steph Curry have been together, and then of course Draymond. But
yeah. Well, Draymond will foul out. You know that. Somebody jumped in.
if you'd like to say, "Hey, Eric,"
Oh,
I believe you were a former guest when we did the cuss word
All right,
list.
was that, is
Yeah,
it,
that's right.
I can't remember Eric's last name. Is it Williams?
I don't
I
know.
I shouldn't say his
But
last
I
name.
remember
anyway.
we did the cuss word list. And
Yeah,
you
I
were
remember
here.
that.
The dirty words, Kirk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I remember.
But yeah, he was here when we did the naughty words list. And I remember he
we were
called
trying
in
to
and we
rank
did the list.
We were trying to rank naughty words, but we were idiots. But
But Golden State, it's going to be.
What's he saying?
He says, "Haven't been in the show in quite
Yeah.
some time. Good to see you back."
We,
Yeah,
we've been off for a little bit, you know.
yeah, because my job has now required me to basically be doing two jobs at once, so it's been kind of hard to be back and do the show now because that's why I get paid the big bucks. Except it's not fucking big bucks. It's more just like do your work. So
Yeah, just need to do the work. That's all it is.
but it's summertime and we should have a lot more time now still on our
Yeah,
hands.
yeah. I know I do.
Yeah, right. and you get paid a lot more money than me too.
Yeah, well, I've been doing a little bit longer.
Yeah, right. You're also 30 plus years older than
Yeah.
no, 28 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Golden State, like
They
so-
caught fire when they needed to catch fire. They've had a decent season, but there was some nicks and dings along the way. And Draymond's finally 100%. And I think in my mind, they just have too much
I
talent.
gotta agree.
Andrew
with you
Wiggins,
now.
I think they just have too much talent.
I gotta agree with you now, just for the simple fact that this team has been to this big game 4 years in a row. Back when they had, the best NBA season of all time in 73-9. Even though they lost that year to the Cavaliers,
Right.
They
We listened
went-
to that game. Remember, we were coming home from somewhere. We were coming back from a Philly game. I think we were coming back from the Eagles game. And
I don't think it was. I think we were in DC. I think we were in DC or Baltimore,
I remember coming home and listening to
Yeah.
the game on the radio.
and we were like, Kyrie Irving just nailed that three. Kyrie Irving just fucking nailed that three in front of Steph Curry's face to win the game, basically. And then LeBron James had the huge block at the end of
yes.
I was like, dude, this game, they just came back from a 3-1 to win it all.
Yeah.
For Cleveland's like first championship in forever.
It's not Cleveland. It's Believeland.
But I
Yeah,
think that Golden State has, like, they have been there 4 years in a row. They
Right.
have the same three that have been there 4 years in a row.
I'm not a huge fan of the NBA.
No, fuck no.
I'm not a huge fan.
Fuck
I
the
don't
NBA.
like the not from how an organizational thing, not like that at all.
No.
I'm
Hate the pace of the game. I hate
Yeah,
how
I've never been a big fan where they save themselves and save themselves. I granted, I know it's a demanding
82
season.
game season.
It's
a long
it's
season.
demanding. You play on the worst possible surface you can possibly play on, with hardwood on top of concrete. It's no wonder these guys get sore knees and ankles and what have you. And it's a physical game because you're talking about grown ass men banging into each other, and it's a constant movement game. And that's what makes the NBA specials, that you have these superior athletes who make the game look easy, but it has a huge demand on their bodies. So with that being said, I think that demand, when you think about what Boston had to go through in order to get to the finals, I just don't think that Golden State had the same abuse. And unless they can get a magic rest and some sort of formula into their system, part of me just says this is going to be a low level viewership game series, just simply because everybody's going to feel like freaking Golden State's going to wipe the court
sure.
with Boston.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I don't want to see that, but it's going to hurt their ratings tremendously. It's
Well,
just good.
Speaking of the other sport that we're about to go into, because that'll do it for the NBA, but the NHL, man, dude, look, the Penguins were up 3-1. They lose. Fuck. First off, the Capitals lose to the Panthers. who then go get screwed by the freaking Lightning 4-0. They get dusted because they're the defending champs. Like
Two-time defending.
two-time defending. They're going for the three-peat, motherfucker.
And when's the last time that's happened? Has that been like? I'm
It's
gonna look that up real quick. Go ahead, finish your
been
statement.
a long time.
Finish your
Because the
statement.
Penguins won back-to-back in 15 and 16 and 17.
I'm gonna look.
But then you have the Eastern semifinals.
1981, 82, 83. New York Islanders had a run of four straight.
In a row. Okay.
4 in a row.
But anyway, then you have the Hurricanes and Rangers on tonight for Game 7. This is it. Who moves on? The Hurricanes were the best team in the league. They shocked everybody. They have had the best record. But the Rangers are that team that, look, they are like just a little bit under the Hurricanes in terms of schedule wise. But this is Game 7 to move on to face the Lightning. But on the Western side, in the Western Conference, dude, you got the fucking Avalanche.
Game 7.
No, they've made the Avalanche and the
Did they win?
Edmonton Oilers.
Was that? Yeah.
No, they won last night. The Avalanche won, and now they're facing the Edmonton Oilers. Two teams.
Oh yeah. Western Conference Finals. I'm sorry. You're right.
Two teams that you're like, holy shit! These guys were nowhere to be found, especially Edmonton. And now you might have finally another Canadian team in the finals. You might actually have another Canadian team win it all. But they got to get through the Avalanche, who have been like, I mean, it's crazy to think that the Avalanche are rocking it right now because the Avalanche haven't been anything.
Well, not in some time, but you go back into the history of Edmonton, and they've won 5 Stanley Cups in their history.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that the people of Edmonton aren't just freaking going gaga over there.
Their stadium's huge.
Yeah.
The Edmonton Oilers stadium is ginormous.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now the NHL.
They had a guy who was pretty good that played for him back then.
I think his name was
starts with a G, I think.
Fuck. Who cares? Gretzky?
Yeah.
Anyway, but the NHL playoffs are the non-usual suspects right now. They really are. Other than the Lightning right now, everybody else, you're like, fuck. Everybody else is just gone.
But that's kind of cool, though. You know what I mean? That's kind of
finally, yeah. Except for the Rangers. That's the other team that, like,
you don't want to see the Rangers in there?
No, I want to see the Hurricanes go on. I do. I want to see the Hurricanes face because, like I said, they were the best team in the league during the regular season, and I think they will. I think if they do beat New York, they will take down.
That's Game 7 tonight.
Yep.
Or today. Wonder what time that's on.
I'll look it up, but. I want to see the Hurricanes go on 8:00 on
8
ESPN.
I might watch that. Your mother's got to go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go help your grandmother for a couple of days and try and take care of some work for her.
But that's the NHL. So the unusual suspects in that, you have the resurgence in the NBA of the Warriors coming back. Then you have the unusual suspects in the NHL.
Yeah.
Real quick, though, your Dodgers are kicking ass right now, Coach.
Shh, be quiet.
I
Don't say anything. Because my whole thing is Dave Roberts shot his mouth off in the preseason saying that they're going to be in the World Series and they're going to win the World Series. And it didn't start out. Okay, so, yes, right now they are playing pretty darn well. But like we were talking about earlier with the NFL playing a long schedule, Major League Baseball plays in an infinity schedule with 162 games. The grind and demand on bodies to cover that time period is not even worth guessing who can win or who might have a chance or anything. I think you just wait until I don't know, August before you start pointing fingers at who you think could play. Because, and this is one of the things I've always argued, is that they should set the playoff schedule after the All-Star game. After any All-Star game is when they should set it. Because there are teams that sail into the All-Star game just kicking ass. And then they limp into the playoffs because after the All-Star break, they just played like garbage. And I don't want to see that happen with the Dodgers. But right now, you're right. They're playing exceptionally well. But so a lot of other teams. The Mets are very good. The Yankees are very good. There are some quality baseball teams out there. This is not one of those seasons where you're just going, "Oh, this is going to be a runaway." Blah blah. No, it's not. It's not. And
It's just weird though because the Dodgers just have a stacked roster,
oh, they do.
stacked field of players. They really
They do.
do.
Yes.
Pitching wise, same fucking thing.
Yeah. It would be really nice to have Trevor Bauer, but that's not going to happen. And then there's some talking heads that say that even if this, because he's in arbitration, that once arbitration finishes, and it's in my estimation that they will reduce his suspension to 1 season, that the Dodgers will release him.
Okay.
Right. I think they're going to get rid of him, and then they'll be free to spend that money somewhere else. So maybe they go after somebody else, and who knows? When they got him anyway, he was a Cy Young winner from Cincinnati, and they snagged him, and he was pitching fairly
and look
well.
at Cincinnati now. They're
Yeah.
the fucking
Oh my God,
laughing stock, man.
Yeah,
they
they're-
pay
they're-
more money to Ken Griffey Jr., who still ain't. He hasn't played in 11 years. They pay more because his contract
Yeah.
gives allocated money to him every single year,
Yep.
and they
Neil
are
Barry
the laughing
Bonds.
stock. The laughing stock.
Yeah, I want the Dodgers to do well. I have major league tickets so that I can watch them, and I watch the games. And
I know you don't want to fly out to LA though, because that would be hell.
I am this stupid fan. I love it when they're doing well, and I'm an idiot when they're not
So
playing.
you're
well.
irrational.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, of course, Tony Gonsolin would give up a two freaking RBI hit. Of course he would. We suck. It's
Sounds
couldn't
like
be
me
further-
when I was young.
couldn't be further from the truth.
You want to get the beers though?
Sure, I'll get them.
Yeah.
We're gonna taste 3.
Yeah, let's do
All right.
3. That's fine with me. So once again, if you're new to the show or if you haven't seen us, every single episode we at least try to taste at least 1 beer. But today, Coach and I are going to have 3. We usually have a guest on with us, but today it's just him and I.
It's Memorial Day.
But it is a holiday, so I mean, but we're sports guys. We don't fucking go anywhere, so we're just going to drink beer. But every single time we try to taste a new type of beer, we may once in a while have a beer that has reoccurred on the show. But we have 3.
These are
different-
non-reoccurrings.
Okay. Oh, but I see
Port
I see
City.
a Port City.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do though is start off. But Coach usually takes it from here on the beer because he's the expert on it.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't catch it, it means he's drank a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sure. So this first one is 3 Notched. We've done 3 Notch Brewing before. 3 Notch Brewing is from Charlottesville, Virginia. And I saw this one. I went down to the Near Food Mart down there in Winchester, Virginia. We used to talk about the Better Beer Store, and the Better Beer Store obviously wasn't better, and they closed their doors. As much as we enjoyed them, they ended up going out of business. But Raj at the Near Food Mart came up with who has taken over the helm of craft beers in the area. This is 3 Notch Brewing, and like I said, it's out of Charlottesville. This one grabbed my attention because it's an Irish red, and it says Hydraulians Irish Red. And as soon as I poured it out of the can, it instantly looks like a traditional Killian's Irish Red. Now that's the benchmark for those red beers, but this one has a very slight tinge to it, which is going to give it a little bit of a hoppy flavor. It has 22 IBUs. This thing has 5.3% alcohol by volume, and brewed right there in. So the first thing is, what's your first grab when you taste that? Is Eric on there? Did Eric make a comment?
No, not in a while.
Okay.
But that is it has a little bit of a.
It's an Irish style red, so it's a little different. It's supposed to be.
It tastes like it's going to have a kick to it, but then it just disappears.
It goes right away, doesn't it?
Flatlines really fast.
So that tells me right away that it's. Now, granted, this isn't as cold as it should be, but you can taste just a hint of hoppiness in it.
Oh yeah.
Just a hint of it. But this is probably one of
That's actually
I'm-
really good though. In
That's not
terms
bad.
of in
And
terms
it's
of
not as
hoppiness,
It's not as cold as it should be.
yeah.
Like, your mother and I had to go run some errands. So this one's not as cold as it could be. But if you were putting this in a cooler of beer on a day like today and they were ice cold, you'd probably smash a few of these without any problem
Absolutely.
whatsoever.
Yeah. Now you would have to be careful on these, I would say, but
And it's only 5.3. It's not over the top. Something in my cup right there. At least it looks like there is.
but yeah, I think that's actually really good. I don't think not the biggest hop fan, hops wise, like IPAs.
The hoppiness of an IPA can sometimes turn you off to it. But
Yeah.
we've tried double IPAs. We've tried other IPAs, and we're like, hey, wait a minute. This isn't it's very crisp. It finishes well. For me, this is a good finishing beer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get that little bit of a sour taste to it, and you're like, I'm not sure I like that. But this isn't too bad. Okay, so here's the next one. This comes from Colorado. Comes from Longmont, Colorado. It's brewed in a couple of places. It's Texas and North Carolina. I think this might be a West or East Coast beer. This is called Mama's Little Yellow Pills, and so this is a Bohemian style, a German style Pilsner, and generally speaking, this right here is a Bohemian style. That Yuengling style of beer is a little bit of a Bohemian style. So this is Oscar Blues Brewery, and it's canned, bottled, and I guess I'm sure it's got bottles. Obviously, it's brewed and canned in Longmont, Colorado. They also do stuff in Texas and North Carolina. But I grabbed it just simply because it's got a cool a retro's 1970s kind of look on the can. But this is called Mama's Little Yellow Pills. Let's take a little taste of this. I'll pass it over. Let's see this thing. That's not bad beer. That's freaking hot weather beer right there. That's almost like it's like a.
Okay.
Now it's hard to say if we have a fresh glass. We didn't cleanse our palate. We didn't do anything extra. We're scrubbing. We didn't scrub a glass or anything like that.
Yeah, it still has a little bit of a bite though it hits you though with a bite still. I don't know. I wouldn't go back for a second.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I disagree.
I just wouldn't go back.
But that's it's you're going back for a third drink right now, finishing off that glass.
Yeah, I mean I would get one because I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad, but like having multiple, I wouldn't go back.
This is not like the king of beers. This is not like one of those things. But once again, if this is what they were serving, you can't tell me that you wouldn't go back for.
I would go back for like one or two,
or four, maybe.
Not that. I wouldn't do that.
To me, it's not that bad. It's really not. It's no different than a regular Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light.
I don't know.
Busch.
I'm getting a different taste still.
Maybe that came from try the other glass. There's a teeny little bit, or try it right out of the can. Because to me, it has it's 4%, 4.7% alcohol by volume.
That's weird. Yeah, that must be from the Irish Red.
Because the first thing I got out of it was it's not all that bad.
Yeah, that must be from the Irish Red then, because I'm tasting
or you didn't get a palate cleanser. Like, we need to get those. What do they call those little freaking crackers? Those what do they call those things?
Saltines?
No, well, they're kind of like saltines, but they're these little
Ritz or whatever.
No, they're little tiny things, and you go and like when you go to a winery and you taste test these wineries in order to cleanse your palate so that your mouth isn't affected by the previous drink.
Yeah, that's what I'm tasting.
You try these little couple of crackers, and then you try the next drink. And
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Your mother knows what the hell they're called. I don't fucking.
I don't know. We just drink the damn beer, whatever, and then we go, ooh, there's a snack here. Got it. Yeah, that one's. It's better without the Irish red tasting. I'll say that.
Yeah, I liked it. All right. Here we go. So one of our all-time favorites, probably one of, well, let's just call it one of the all-time favorites. This is a German-style lager from one of our favorite places. These people do not make bad beer.
No.
This is Port City Brewing out of Alexandria, Virginia, and they have this beer called Franconian Keller beer. And I'm assuming that it's a German-style beer, and it does say that it's a German-style lager. Yeah, it's a very cool. It's very cool, like a German-style hostel or something. Schwenkenschwitzen. I don't know what the fuck that is, but
I said Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, Wiener Schnitzel. This says it's herbal, bready malt, and natural. This is 5.0% alcohol or 5.0% alcohol by volume. It was made 10 years ago. In terms of when this I guess particular beer beer became, but I think it might be a seasonal kind of thing. Raj picked it up.
Have a good one, Eric. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey, Eric, thank you for stopping by. Sorry we're boring you with beer, but
or who knows, you might be going out to get these.
Yes, go get a couple of them. Has a great smell. It is a cloudy beer.
Yeah, it's got a lot of. Oh wow, yeah, that is. Oh, pot hopping. Enjoy.
All right, see ya. Wow.
They're just too fucking good, man. You tasted it and you said wow, and then I tasted it. They're just too fucking good. I don't know what it is about the. Do you put drugs in this shit? You make.
There's nothing on this flavor. There's just like I'm not. That's not a negative. Trust me, that's not a negative, guys. I'm telling you that this fucking beer tastes just like you were just cracked open. You were at a freaking Oktoberfest and they had a giant barrel of beer and CJ just crushed his entire glass already. You want some more? There's still some in there.
Yeah, I'll take another.
Holy shit, that's good. I poured a bigger pour.
I'll let you have the last pour though. Yeah. But yeah, like that.
Wow. That's
ridiculous.
It's very smooth.
I don't know how they do it, but like I said, every single beer that we have had from them.
I've even drank their IPAs, and I was like, I could probably like this.
Their porter or I forget if it was their porter or stout that they had.
Port City's porter.
But it was probably the best beer I've ever tasted. I believe it was the porter.
Yes, we did that on the show. One of our very first, I would say, in the first 5 episodes, we did that,
and it was fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic.
It is probably the best beer I've ever tasted. But
in terms of having a genuine taste, you know what I mean? Because this says very carefully, it says very specifically, it is herbal. It has bready malt, so it is kind of a malty flavor to it, but it has a natural smoothness to it. And their label describes exactly what you're drinking. So if you can find it, it's Franconia Keller beer. Mama's Little Yellow Pills, which CJ had a second attempt at, which he enjoyed. And then there's Three Notch Brewing out of Charlottesville. They're Hydraulian Red. And once again, if they're going to list IBUs on that beer can, you're probably going to get just a tinge of hoppiness, and you do, but it does not take away from the flavor of a red beer. That is a very, very good red beer. If Killian's Irish Red is the standard for an Irish style red, then that's pretty good. That matches up extremely, extremely well. So there you go. I think Port City wins again.
Oh,
I think
fuck
they
yeah.
just.
I don't question.
I'm not
that
even
at
going to
all.
rush the rest of it. I'm
Savor it.
yeah, I'm going to enjoy the rest of that.
Okay, so I know we haven't done this in a while, so
And
let's.
I'm not even sure what to even say, CJ.
I got one for it.
Uh-oh.
A pretty
I
good
got one too, but I don't know how good it is. But
So I'll go first then. But
yeah.
anyway, I listen when I'm at work or when I'm on my way to work, coming home from it, etc. I'll listen to a lot of podcasts online, and I like a lot of history stuff. But I actually stumbled upon. I looked it up.
I got two
on Spotify.
I just think of another one since you
Okay.
said that.
I actually looked it up. There was a Band of Brothers podcast.
Wow.
It's an HBO sponsored Band of Brothers podcast. 10 episodes. Every single episode, they go and they bring in a cast member or a screenwriter, director from that particular episode that they were a part of, and they talk about that particular episode. They talk to Tom Hanks. They talk to Donnie Wahlberg. They talk to Ron Livingston, Captain Lewis Nixon. They talk to Donnie Wahlberg, Master Sergeant Lipton. They talked to, and then in the last episode, they talked to
who was
Damian
injured
Lewis.
3 times. He had 3 Purple Hearts.
And then in the last episode, they talked to Damian Lewis, who plays Major Dick Winters.
Dick Winters. Yep.
And they talked the first episode. It's not an episode, but they call it the prologue because the first thing that they do is they talk to Tom Hanks, who was an executive producer. with Steven
I think
Spielberg.
From Saving Private Ryan. I think
two creators of the show.
And Stephen Ambrose's book kind of drove that. And that was part of my hops that's good that you're doing that.
Tom Hanks, that the prologue episode, I remember listening to it and here's the thing is that I don't think there will ever be a series like Band of Brothers.
It's on today.
There are we're going to turn it on. But anyway, what I was going to say is that we always try to say what is the best TV series of all time. Band of Brothers still to this day is played every single year, at least once or twice every single year. It just is.
Last Patrol.
And when Tom Hanks talked about and what they truly did, they don't call Dick Winters Dick Winters. They call him the Major. That's what they called him before he passed away.
Yeah.
Because it's been 10 years since he's passed away.
Yeah.
But the reason that HBO did this podcast is because
I think
last
it was
year,
92 or something when he passed.
No, 2011.
No, he was 92 when he died. I think you would think he was in his 90s.
But the reason they did this podcast is because it was 20 years back in 2021 when this was created. Wow. 20 years. So it's been 21 years now since I've been listening to it. But Tom Hanks, he talks about how, look, the way that we did this is because these guys did not enlist. These were volunteers.
Yeah.
These were guys who were like, it's $50 extra a month. I'll fucking do it. I'll just join up. And then when you
looked at the education of the background, the educational background of these guys, they were, except for the officers, the average enlisted man was just an average Joe. He was just
average people every day.
The things they talked about with Lipton and who he was, the kind of guy he was, and Garnier. Yeah, they call him Garnier, but in the Ambrose book, it's pronounced Garnieri. To think that they left a portion of their lives out there at a young age and went home and lived regular lives. It was like their duty, you know what I mean? And every time I listen to it or I read about it, it just it shocks me because that shit's not happening today. It's not happening today.
When Tom Hanks talked about how they sent an early screenplay to the Major, they said, Major Winters, I want you to watch this and I want you to see what happens. And it was the episode of D-Day. It was the second
Day
episode
of Days
where they dropped in, and you have Lieutenant Winters at the time talking to this 82nd Airborne men, and they're trying to find out where they were at, and this was an early screenplay that they sent to him, and they said that the major called them up and said, "What the fuck is this?" They said that he was so mad at them and said, they were like, "Major, what is the issue?" And they said,
I'm not
"You
sure
guys,"
he used the F word, but
they said, "You guys are making us look like idiots. You guys are making us look like we didn't know where we were, what we were doing, if we got lost. We knew if we got lost, what the hell to do. We knew the mission. We knew exactly where we were. We knew where we dropped, where we were at. We knew what we were doing."
yeah,
And
they
you
were
got-
tasked with that ahead of time. You know,
And-
they had to
but
memorize
they-
everything.
But that was what
But that's Hollywood. You know, Hollywood tries
I know, but this is what makes this so special because of how they had to be down to a T of everything. Buck Compton, another good example. They talk about how Buck Compton, in the show, they talk about how he was injured in what was it, Bastogne, But he went
Bastonia.
but he went crazy. But they said, do not include that in the show. They said that the people of his unit do not include that in the show. Buck Compton is a great man. I don't want anyone to see that in the show. You do.
They
not
didn't
put
know.
that-
They didn't know. Yeah,
But-
there's something about what Ambrose writes when he talks about what happened to him.
But
Um,
when they talked to Buck Compton himself, he was like, "I don't care. Fucking put it in the show." But they said that, Buck was like, "It's what happened to me. You have to put that out."
Yeah,
there."
so that's the great thing about what Ambrose writes is that he came to an understanding of what he was experiencing, and it was the coming out party for PTSD that this guy, the things that he had done, he was an officer, and he was tasked with training and commanding these men, and when they were dying and getting
He
hurt,
saw Garnier lose
when
his
he
leg
saw
when-
Garnier get injured, he fucking lost it. He's like, God damn it! This is who these are my friends. Yes, I'm their commander. I'm a commanding officer, but at the same time, these are human beings, and I'm a fucking man, and he's my friend, and this is what's happening to him. And he lost his shit.
a couple more things, but that, and then I'll send it off to you. But when they talked about, because this is all from Tom Hanks, that he was like, when we talked about Major Spears, Captain Spears, when we saw when we heard of the things that he did,
Yeah.
and when we went to talk to him, he didn't want to talk to us about it because he said that I did things
Yeah.
that I'm not proud of.
Right.
But at the time, when he said that they brought them to Normandy, when they brought all the old vets to Normandy,
Right.
he said that he didn't want to go. Major Spears said, I can't go back there. I just can't fucking go back there because I know what I did. And
Yeah.
it was Dick Winters who called him and said, "You're fucking going.
If I'm going, you're going.
You are going to this." And he said him and Dick Winters were side by side through it all. And
Yeah. Yeah, Spears was a badass.
It's hard to imagine what was going on at
When-
this time for
When
them.
Dick Winters says that he's the finest combat officer you have an understanding of how fucking hardcore that dude was.
But
Because he's going to go on, and Spears will be involved in the military for many
Yeah.
years after that. He'll be involved in Korea and stuff like that throughout the Cold War, and then he's going to retire. But he will have spent. I think he becomes I'm not sure if he's
Lieutenant
a light
colonel.
he's a light colonel. Yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel.
But to do all that, you don't do that just being an average Joe. So I mean, I'm sure he was downplaying it for whatever reason.
And the final point I was going to make is look, this came out in 2001. You had the Pacific, which is it's the Pacific War, that their version of that came out. The Pacific is completely different from this.
Yeah.
Because once again, like Tom Hanks said, that it's look, we came out with that. The Marines enlisted in what they were doing. They enlisted into the Marine Corps, and they also completely different enemy, completely different
Yeah,
war.
but they knew 100% what they were getting involved in.
But the paratroopers were volunteers. These guys went through training from an SOB in Sobel saying, what the fuck is this guy? Why is he treating us like this?
Yeah.
To understanding that guy was right.
Yeah.
That guy was completely
and
right.
I think if you read Ambrose's book, Stephen F. Ambrose, the guy that wrote Band of Brothers, I think that they even agreed, okay,
without Sobel,
it was because of Sobel that he helped shape who they were.
Major Winters made them into the men. The men
he
that
helped
they were,
with the decision making process that
Sobel made them into the soldiers that they were.
Yeah.
And like the Pacific, it's weird because the endings of both series really shows you like what wars they were. In Europe, this shit ended 4 months before the Japan War ended.
Right.
And when you see we won the war or whatever in the Pacific, you just see the men sit there like, what the fuck, man? I can't believe it's over. Because like the enemy that they faced was just so drastically different than what they faced in Europe. And then when they say the war's over in Band of Brothers, you see all those men of Easy Company just standing there after playing a baseball game saying, I guess we get to go home now.
Yeah. And they went home at different times too, though.
Yeah.
They were kind of shuffled off.
But in the Pacific, it ends with like, they're in hospitals because like they've just.
Well, there was several Easy Company guys that were in hospitals too at the time. It's just how HBO portrayed it. But if you ever listened or read Ambrose's book, there were a number of guys that were banged up pretty bad. Garnier still in the hospital at that time. Who's the guy with him who gets hurt with him? I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, it wasn't
Joe Torre, was it?
I can't remember. Toya. Maybe it is. They both lose a leg, or get injured. I know he loses most of his
because it wasn't
leg.
Malarkey. Malarkey wasn't there because he made it all the way through.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
But this podcast, it goes through, Currahee, Camp Toccoa, Georgia, with Ron Livingston, who plays Captain Lewis Nixon, who is just an intelligence officer. But like
and then you listen to, and I keep cutting you off, but if you listen to Ambrose's book, the HBO series portrays Nixon as this freaking dopey guy who just drinks too much. He was an alcoholic. He was a functioning alcoholic, but there is nobody that served with him that said that he wasn't probably the most technical and tactical officer that they knew. That he was everything that they needed. He was the jib to Dick Winters' jab. I mean, they flowed together.
He called the shots, but Dick led them into battle.
Yeah,
but because of
designed what they were doing. Yeah,
because of Lewis, they were able to get the job done.
Yeah,
it only took Dick Winters to lead them.
I closed my eyes. I was listening because I was coming to the end of the book, and I was stopped in my at the parking lot at school, and I closed my eyes, and I was trying to imagine when they got into Berchtesgaden, they got into the Eagle's Nest, and they discovered Goering's freaking private locker of liquor, and Dick Winters found it, and he's like, he posted guards outside the door, and then he brought Nixon back, and he goes, I got a present for you. I want you to see this. They said that Nixon took away 5 truckloads.
Yeah, it's in the show. You see the trucks go out with all the alcohol.
Yeah, like crazy.
Like, I'll never understand why someone is not. I understand why people have differing opinions on how each war is, costing us lives and everything. But this war, World War II, World War I, these men were just kids.
Yeah.
They're human beings, man, and they did something that you wouldn't fucking do.
The average guy, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean?
You're telling me at the cover of night at like 2 a.m. in the morning, I'm dropping with a parachute?
Well, not just that. Think about Bastogne. When you think about where they were, and well, the history says that
George Patton came to their rescue. And Patton didn't come to their rescue. They were rock solid. And they'll tell you, I think the men that were there said that it was ours to stay. We were going to hold. Patton eventually rescued us, but he wasn't the answer to it. We were there because that's who we were, and that was the way it was supposed to be. So they tell a great story. Ambrose and the people that put this together are incredible. You couldn't have asked for a better TV series.
But yeah, that was my hops.
No, I don't need to do any of mine then.
You can't follow it up.
No, because I was going to talk about freaking Johnny Depp and Amber Turd.
Who cares about that?
Yeah, those fucktards. Those people who make millions pretending to be other people and do other shit. Fuck them. When you think about who these guys are and what they represented.
I recommend that you go watch it. It's on, or listen to it. It's on Spotify. HBO, they have a designated person who talks to all these actors and all these screenwriters.
And I think anybody and everybody should check out Stephen Ambrose's book. It's not a terribly long read, and once you start it, if you've watched Band of Brothers, it follows it very, very closely. There's a few little tweaks in here and there, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's worth your time to spend reading about one of the greatest generations of people that has ever walked the planet.
What is the goddamn holdup, Captain Sobel?
Captain Sobel.
Oh, that dog, she ain't no hustle. Now you cut that goddamn fence and get this patrol on the move. There were so many good things about the show that made you laugh and made you, on the edge of your
And there
seat.
he is. He's never seen from again. But the vast majority of Ambrose's book is written from his memoirs and his descriptions of what he experienced.
So,
what a great fucking.
But thank you guys for listening.
Yes. Hey, we're back on.
We appreciate you all.
We keep saying we'll be back, and then we delay, and turns out
it's okay. We're not going anywhere, though. We're not done with this fucking show.
No.
But guys, we hope you guys have a safe Memorial Day.
Yes, please be safe.
Enjoy your freedom. Have a good one. And until next time, peace out. Love you guys.
Bye.